Hey, welcome to Section 2, Creating Your First Smart Contract in Ethereum. In the last section, you learned how smart contracts and user interfaces work together to create decentralized applications. Now it's time to dive into smart contracts and learn what they are, how they work, and create the smart contract we'll use in our online marketplace. In this video, you're going to learn specifically what a contract is, how it works on the Ethereum blockchain, and how to create one yourself. I'm also going to introduce you to the Ethereum virtual machine and make sure that you really understand what it means when we say something is on the blockchain. A contract is a collection of code and data that resides at a specific address on the Ethereum blockchain. If you struggle to visualize what a blockchain is, think of a globally shared transactional database. This means that everyone can read entries in the database, and you can change the contents of the database with transactions. The code in your contract creates those transactions. So there's a few important notes to know about transactions. As the name transaction implies, the change you want to make is done either completely or not at all. And once a transaction is applied, no other transaction can alter it. And finally, all transactions are cryptographically signed by the sender. The Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM, provides the runtime environment for smart contracts. It's sandboxed and isolated, so the code running inside the EVM has no access to network, file systems, or other processes. It also has limited access to other smart contracts. There's two types of accounts. There's external accounts that are controlled by public-private key pairs. This is the type of accounts that humans have, for example, in their Ethereum wallets. There's also contract accounts, which are controlled by the code stored together with the account. Now, both of these accounts are treated identically by the EVM. You may be wondering where I'm going with all this. You came here to learn how to create a smart contract, right? Well, I really want to make sure you understand one thing. Remember when I said the blockchain is like a globally shared transactional database? Think about that phrase, globally shared, and while you do, I'll bring up the next slide. This is a Google search I did for CryptoKitties source code. Take a look at the fifth link. It's a link to Etherscan, which is an Ethereum block explorer. If I click that link, look at this. The entire code in the smart contract for CryptoKitties is in here. So the point I want you to take away is every line of code you write inside a smart contract is publicly viewable. That means no passwords, no security keys, no proprietary or confidential business information should ever be put inside a smart contract. Okay, with that out of the way, let's create our contract. Our contracts are written in a language called Solidity. In our online marketplace application, we're going to store our smart contracts in the contracts folder. Common convention recommends that you use camel case or capwords formatting. And your contract files will end with the .sol prefix. For example, if I'm going to write a contract called My First Contract, I'll name it myfirstcontract.sol and capitalize the first letter of each word in the name, the M, the F, and the C. So in my code editor, I'm going to right-click on the contracts folder, create a new file, and I'm going to call my contract merchandise, and then give it the .sol file extension. All Solidity contracts start with the same first line. We start with the keyword pragma. It's required and it tells the compiler how to treat the source code. In this case, it's going to treat it as Solidity code because that's what we specified next. Next, I'm including the version of Solidity installed on my system, and I can get that by opening a terminal and typing truffle version. Now I'm including a caret at the beginning of the version number, and this is important. The caret tells the compiler that it can use any version of the Solidity compiler from version 0.4.23 up to, but not including, version 0.5.0. This ensures that a breaking change in the 0.5 family doesn't break my smart contract. Finally, the line ends with the semicolon. So back in my code editor, I'm going to type pragma Solidity 0.4.23 semicolon. Now we can declare our contract, and this looks much like a class definition if you're familiar with other programming languages. We use the keyword contract to identify the contract, and then we give it a name using the camel case or word cap formatting. Most of the time, this contract name is going to match the file name. After the contract name, we have a set of curly braces, and it's inside those curly braces where we'll put our smart contract code. So we'll specify the keyword contract, give our contract a name, and then our curly braces. And now we're ready to start writing the code that makes up our smart contract. In this video, you learned what a contract is and how to create one. You also learned that the Ethereum virtual machine is the environment that creates transactions to execute the functions in your contract and store those transactions in the globally available blockchain.